Hi, and welcome back to another scintillating Mayor's Hour. Scintillating only because my pal Jack Harris is with me. I'm the boring one. He is the exciting, humorous one. I'm the eye candy. I'm eye candy. That's it.
The eye candy. I love that.
But we're glad to be here. We're at one of our favorite places, Jack, and one of the biggest economic engines that we have in the Tampa area, and that's Tampa International Airport.
You know, you say one of our favorite places, according to a recent Travelers magazine, this is the favorite place for flyers in the U.S. We're not number one in the whole world, but we're like number 6 or 7 in the whole world, and number 1 in the U.S., the only one to make the top 10 of the most, I think they called it lovable airports in America, and I can understand it for sure.
Well, you can imagine whoever had the foresight to design this 40 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, not only was it brilliant at the time, it has remained functional. And with some little tinkering and some aesthetics and new carpet and whatnot, it remains one of the best airports in the world.
That's the amazing thing, is this thing was built 41 years ago it opened, and yet you've had all of the new airports, the Dallas-Fort Worths, the Atlanta's had a new airport. Everybody's built a new airport since in Orlando, whoever. And yet this one still remains the best in the country, which is phenomenal.
And you know what's interesting? Folks back then said, why are you doing it? Why would you spend this much money, invest this much capital in an airport of this size and this magnitude? And the city leaders at the time were absolutely dead on right. They made the correct decision. It has been iconic in terms of its ability to generate economic return for us. I mean, it really has been tremendous.
And the amazing thing you've had over the years, you've had people who have gotten better, like Lewis Miller did a great job in elevating it even more. And you say, well, that's about as far as you're going to go. You got the best airport in America. Then you got Joe Lopano comes in, and all of a sudden he's making the best airport in America much better.
Absolutely.
That's what blows my mind, to see the things that are going on out here now.
All right, well, bear with us. We'll be right back with the new CEO of the Tampa International Airport, Joe Lopano. He comes to us from Dallas-Fort Worth. He's a great guy. He's a bundle of energy. He's going to take this airport to the next level. Have with us one of Tampa's newest draft picks to this community.
Well put.
He comes to us out of Dallas-Fort Worth. He's been here about a little over a year, I guess, Joe?
That's right, Mayor.
His name is Joe Lopano, and he really has started to take this airport to the next level. I mean, he's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of great ideas. He brings a marketing perspective. He understands the importance of international trade and international flights and has been working tirelessly to get us to that point. We're going to hear from him, Jack. He's got some great ideas about what's going to happen at this airport. I mean, just remember, the whole world will be coming through these gates next August for the Republican National Convention. So, Joe, welcome to Tampa.
Thanks, Mayor.
But more importantly, welcome to the Mayor's Hour. This is G-rated, family friendly, and very, very popular.
Good. I'm
glad to be
a part of it.
I think my family watches it.
Well, I'll make sure mine does too.
Part of my family watches it.
Okay.
Well, welcome, Joe. Tell us a little bit about what brought you here and what excites you about being here.
Yeah, the thing that excites me about this airport is, number one, it's a great airport to start with. But number two, I see a lot of energy in this city and a lot of energy in this region for change and energy for growth and energy for bringing prosperity to this region. And we have a new mayor, we have a new airport director, we have new people coming in, all with one singular goal. And I felt that energy when I first came here, and I feel we're going to accomplish our goals.
Well, the airport, we were talking about this earlier, built 41 years ago. That's what's so remarkable, and it's still, and I was mentioning some magazine or somebody named it the most, was the term lovable?
Yeah.
The most lovable in America. It was the only American airport out of the whole top 10 that made the list. So it is the most lovable airport in America. How do you do that with a 41-year-old facility when you've had so many newer ones, including your Dallas-Fort Worth and Atlanta and all the others?
Excellent question. I think that I owe it to the people who came before me, and I think that the guys who who thought about this building and this design were very courageous and had great vision, and that's a sign of, I think that is Tampa. Tampa's visionary. This was built, the people movers were built by calling in Westinghouse and saying, we want you to build people movers that have never been done ever before in the world. And this city did it 45 years ago. That's part of the reason why we're so popular. So I stand on their shoulders, and as a steward of this airport, I have to try to do even better than that, and that's a pretty daunting task.
One thing that surprised us, and we were mentioning earlier, after 41 years that nobody thought of bringing local culture to the airport and showcasing it here, which is one of the things that I know that you're doing right now, and that is bringing Columbia restaurants, Cigar City Brewery, places like this out here so people coming through the airport can get a little taste of Tampa, so to speak.
Yeah, that was a suggestion that was given to me when I first came in by some of our board members who said, you know, you really can't tell you're in Tampa when you come to this airport. Is there something we can do? So I asked our food and beverage and retail guys to look at what we have here, the iconic things that we have in our community, and there are plenty of them. And so it's just a way of being proud of who we are and showing people when they come in, if they're on a business trip, they may not know what we're about. They'll find out what we're about just by being here at the airport.
Joe, you're a marketing guy. Tell us what it is that you've been doing for the last year and a half. And I know because I sit on the board and I have traveled with you. But tell it is what's that long-term vision? What is it that we need to do to add more flights? You know, to expand our footprint, if you will, on the international scene.
Yeah, Mayor, I think the idea is for us to be great partners, and our goal is to drive international traffic up. We're being very aggressive in terms of targeting. We have 6 main targets around the world. You know, we have Brazil as a target, Germany as a target, Colombia as a target, Panama as a target, Mexico, and the entire Caribbean. All of these places can support service, and our region is 5 million people, and our effective buying income is very, very strong. We're larger than Orlando in terms of effective buying income. So we believe that we can be aggressive marketers to try to drive that number up, but we're also partners, and we're part of the city, the county, the state government, all trying to drive this international trade. We're a piece of that.
And it's tough to bring in international flights. We've known that because that's something that's been a sticking point for a long time. We need more of them because of the economic impact of having people come from overseas. How do you start out when you target one? Say flights to Panama or flights to Colombia or someplace like that. What's the procedure for saying, okay, we're going to try to get flights to this targeted country?
Well, the first thing is you got to find out what countries and what airlines can sustain service. And I'll give you a good example. Copa Airlines in Panama was one that we decided could sustain service. And then you bring the right people together to bring the message out to Copa. And I know the mayor was on the job maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and he went with me to Panama. And they told us they had not heard from us and we were not on their radar screen. But when we finished the meeting, we gave them a business case. We showed them that it would be sustainable to make money in Tampa. People don't just fly here because they like the looks of the place or the beaches. They got to make money. Mm-hmm. We showed them that they could make money, and they said we're now on their radar screen. So it's really a relationship of credibility. You have to do your homework and your analysis. These are big investments on the part of the airlines, but they have to be convinced they make money.
Now, you've added a couple new flights. You've added flights to Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
We've added flights to Edelweiss Airlines.
To Switzerland.
To Switzerland. Yeah. Tell us what to expect. I mean, how did we land those, and tell us what to expect down the road?
Yeah, the way we landed those, in fact, Edelweiss was previously flying to Orlando, and we got them to shift over here. What we've told them is that we're the gateway to the west coast of Florida. We aren't just Tampa International Airport. We can feed all the way down to Sarasota and even beyond. And that there's 5 million people in our catchment area. If you want to go to Disney, you can go to Disney from here. If you want to go to Busch Gardens, or if you want to go to the beaches. But more importantly, if you want to do business with our robust business community, this is the place to enter. This is the gateway. So I think that when Edelweiss gets going and they're successful, we'll see others who say, maybe this is the new gateway to the west coast of Florida. That's our strategy, and we have the numbers to back it up.
You're at the mercy of the airline industry. I mean, interestingly enough, you're dealing with the airlines. I mean, you're trying to keep this thing right, make it better, looking good and so forth, but you're at the mercy of these people out there, out at the air sides. Yeah. And that must be difficult in not being able to control that at all, whether prices go up on jet fuel, they cut back on the number of flights, things like that.
Yeah, I think, my background is I was with Continental Airlines for 10 years, and I sort of did this same job in reverse, where I would decide where we'd put the flights. So I understand the way the airline guys think, and I understand that they have to make changes in their capacity based on the price of fuel and based on profitability. Assuming that we can keep a fairly predictable fuel price, we're going to do just fine. This market's going to grow. I like to say we were victims of a triple perfect storm. The national recession, the Florida housing problem, and the effects of BP. That all hit us at once, and now we're starting to rebound from that.
Joe, we got about 2 minutes left in this segment. Tell us about preparations for the RNC. You're going to be the first thing people see when they come to this.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. We have, actually, Mayor, we have many subcommittees that are working on this. We've actually created an employee committee that is going to evaluate when a person first lands, what will they see, when will they see it, and how do we want to be perceived. So they take the entering and exiting person step by step and say, what is it that we want them to see and understand about Tampa? It's a huge opportunity for us. We're spending a lot of time. In fact, every staff meeting I have, item number one is RNC, no matter what it is that we're going to talk about. So we think it's going to be great, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, if you see any anarchists, can you send them up to Orlando?
I'll be happy to. Maybe we can bus them.
Let them have a little fun.
Yeah, send them to Disney. They got showers up there. They got everything.
Well,
I'll do that.
This place has become, I do a lot of flying with the Tampa Bay Storm and just traveling as a family and everything, and this place has become so incredibly user-friendly, and especially after being in other airports around the country, you come here and you just think, thank heavens, we've got this place because it is so much better, and it just blows my mind when I see you taking this airport and finding ways to make it better all along there. I mean, it really is beautiful.
Thank you. It's a very customer-friendly airport, and the fact that we have free Wi-Fi.
I was just going to say, for those of us who live on our laptops, free
Yes.
Wi-Fi is important.
Yeah, and it's incredible because that helps to de-stress you. Okay, so once you get on your laptop and you see what's going on at home and you take care of your business, you're feeling better, and that's important for our customers.
That's great.
Well, Joe, we'll be right back. We're going to take a look at some of the improvements that are proposed for Airside C.
Great.
And then we're going to go out and meet with some of Tampa's finest and bravest and talk about what our fire rescue crews out here do. But we're proud of what you're doing. This is a game changer. I mean, this really is truly a turning of the page in this community as we have new leadership in virtually every key and critical position, and Joe Lopano is one of them. So bear with us. We'll be right back.
Pizza is its own category. If pizza has such a following, it hasn't been represented here at the airport. And our existing operator that operates Burger King has relationships with Papa John, and we had some unused space. So we thought it was a natural fit to bring that in, and we redesigned a small portion of the space and created Papa John's. And now you can get individually sized pizzas, you can make your own pizza, or you can have one of the pre-made pizzas, which is cheese, meat lovers, pepperoni, all within 8 to 10 minutes. We've had it open for just about a month and a half, and it's performing quite well for us. One of the other categories that we saw that we had a discrepancy for is that wine bar category. And so, we engaged our partner HMS Host to see what they could do for us in terms of meeting that category. And, one of the other challenges or importance that we had was to introduce local concepts into our program. So they did a lot of market research. They scoured Tampa, and they came back with Mise Place as a potential partner with the airport to do the wine bar. And after several months of going through some iterations of design, we finally have a great design. We'll be going under construction in just a couple weeks, and it will be open by the end of April. In many communities, the airport is the gateway or the doorway to that community. And so when passengers come here, when people come here, travelers come here, we want to represent the community to them. We're going to be introducing a number of local concepts over the next several months to bring that Tampa flavor into the airport, to create that sense of place for our guests, our travelers, our passengers. And Mise Place is just one of the first four. We have the Columbia restaurant, Columbia Cafe will be opening up in Terminal E. We're also going to be bringing Green Iguana. We're also going to be bringing in Cigar City Brewing and offer a Tampa brew, which we're actually going to be brewing on site, which is, we can only get that at the airport, which is going to be great for us. And we're going to be bringing in Shula Burger. So all of those restaurants are under development now, and we anticipate again opening them at the end of April. One of the things that we're also looking at airport-wide is, what other services can we offer our traveling passengers and guests, and what can we do to augment existing locations? And one of the natural concepts that we had in our MindWorks store is to introduce Legoland. Legoland just opened an hour east of here, and we thought, what a great partnership. Stellar Partners that operates MindWorks had a relationship with Lego, and we just decided to pursue that further now with the park opening. So we do offer discounted tickets that could be purchased here, and we really created a store within a store concept. One of the other things that we're also doing in terms of retail in our main terminal is we've looked at all of the locations and how they're performing, and if what opportunity we had to improve that selection. So we're going to be converting one of our existing stores to Swarovski's Crystal. They're under construction now, and they should be open in about a month's time, and you'll be able to get that additional selection of crystal products, figurines and additional jewelry items that we were missing before. Airport Wireless is another retail concept we've introduced in the last month. That store basically offers electronic goods, things like headphones and iPads and iPod play or MP3 players, your chargers. It's basically an electronics store, and that store will also be going into a full remodel here in the next month. So by the time we get around to July, just pre-RNC, we'll have a full complement of new products in that store. We're in Airside A, and we're actually in one of the construction sites, as you can see behind me. This is the location for the Green Iguana. This is another great local concept that we're going to be introducing at the airport to add the additional category of burgers and seafood that we're missing on the airsides right now. And not only that, but it brings that fun Tiki Hut atmosphere that you have at the Green Iguana. We're also introducing a number of grab-and-go concepts, and they're branded Chow. It's a concept that Hostess developed, and it's really a place where you can get some fresh packaged foods, you can get some fruits, trail mix and candies that you can't normally get. And the whole idea behind the concept is, I have a limited amount of time, I can't sit down at a restaurant and eat, but I want to take something with me on the airplane. As part of the redevelopment of this program to drive customer service and enhance revenues, introduce local concepts, we wanted to see underperformers and where we can identify space that we could convert. So one of those spaces happened to be Bijou Turner that we converted to Sunglass Icon. Sunglass Icon, especially in the Tampa market where we get so much sun, it's the #1 specialty retail category, and it does really well. People always forget the sunglasses or they break them in transit. It's a natural fit. We have to find that balance for concessions. It's not just about food, it's not just about specialty retail. What's the right offerings in our airsides? And what we found is in many of our airsides, we were short for space for concessions. For the number of people that we serve here, we really needed additional concession services to make sure that we're offering the right mix for our passengers and not turning them away or not making them frustrated because they had to wait on a longer line. So we've identified pockets of space that weren't utilized before and try to bring in the right appropriate brands and concepts for those spaces. So in Airside A, we're also adding a newsstand because #1 category in an airport retail environment that's just separate from specialty is your news. We sell more newspapers than we sell anything else here other than bottled water. So we saw the need and we're implementing one of those locations as well. We also just opened our Bacardi Mojito bar. We have some high hopes for that area because before it was unutilized space. So we identified pockets of space that just weren't being used, and we offered that additional service to our passengers. And actually the mojitos are quite good. I had one yesterday. After work, always after work.
We are joined right now by Al Illustrato, who is the vice president for all the cool stuff. Vice president in charge of cool stuff for the Tampa Aviation Authority.
And he has been around.
He has.
He is the stabilizing force for Joe Lopano, saying, well, this is the way they used to do it, and that kind of thing. He's got the history here.
He's lived through George Bean and Lewis Miller, and now Joe Lopano. So
yes, very fortunate.
You've been part of this
wonderful career.
institution
Yes.
for a long,
Started
long
out
time.
when he was a child.
Yeah, it looks like
Very
he's got less
kind
gray hair than you and I, Jack.
Long shots.
You dipping into that stuff?
No, this is an exciting place to be at Tampa Airport. Again, being fortunate enough to be here with George Bean, Lewis Miller, and now Joe, just always see the changes. The airport's a very dynamic place. We have to make changes all the time because we want to stay current. We want to give the customer a good experience and improve that experience in every way we can.
Well, what he's really in charge of is the sort of the customer experience, and we have embarked on at the Aviation Authority a major overhaul of Airside C, which is where we are right now. And so what Al's going to do for us is sort of walk us through all the things that are coming. I mean, not only just for the RNC, but more importantly, for the entire customer experience here in the Tampa Bay area.
Absolutely so. You know, we were fortunate to be in a good time frame here. We had a number of things planned that we wanted to do, but now we have an even greater opportunity with RNC to make sure that this community and this airport can really shine, as we're going to have thousands, tens of thousands of more visitors during that time frame. So some of it's being done with concessions. So that we're doing concession improvements and adding some 25 plus new concession opportunities, and we're also modernizing the facility. So we'll have a number of those things in place for RNC.
That's the good thing about the RNC, the fact you've been able to accelerate so many things because of the payoff at the end.
We sure did. We kicked it into high gear, and this experience will be great for the customer.
So as we walk, Airside Sea services what airlines?
It services AirTran and Southwest.
Okay.
You know, this is our busiest airside, so with this addition of this new Chow grab bag.
Tell us what this is,
Yes, wonderful. This is Chow Gourmet Market. It's a more natural products for grab and go, so customers will have a better choice and they'll be able to get their things quickly.
That would not be you and I, Jack. Healthy choices.
We'll be in one of the unhealthy places.
Yes.
We'll share with you some choices that you may like down the road here. You know, a good airport, you know, has to provide things that satisfies everyone, from young folks to older folks, and different tastes and different experience. You know, we mentioned that we're the 6th loved airport in the world. You're going to accomplish that by a total experience, from how people are treated when they're walking around the place and they're greeted, but also the facilities that they encounter. Are they welcoming? Do they look good? Do we have products that people like? So it really is a total package. We have to make sure that we're constantly doing things to remain so, or to be even better. So we cannot rest on what we've done well yesterday. We have to constantly look at what is the customer looking for. These will get kicked up a notch in this process over the next month or two, and get various improvements to the way they look and the offerings that they have.
Yeah, and obviously there are shops, because given airport security today, this has been advantageous, really, in a way, from an economic standpoint to airports. 9/11, the fact that since then, people have had to get here so much earlier.
Yes.
I mean, in the old days, you could rush out to the airport, park your car. When I used to do a lot of sports travel before 9/11, there were times when I would get there and they would open the door for you. They'd close the door, ready to go.
Yes.
And somebody said, "Hey, we got one here," and they open the door and let you get. Those days are long gone.
Not anymore.
But the advantage to you all is you've got a place where people are going to have to spend close to an hour at least. Some people even spend more, and there's so many ways you can try to, well, if you'll pardon the expression, get their money.
Those would be called profit centers.
Yes, there you go.
How about this, Al?
Yes, we're going to be doing. They're going to be doing a remake of this as well, and again, the presentation to the customer and the offerings that they have. So that will be in the works shortly. But you're hitting that on the head, Jack, in terms of when a customer is out here and they're waiting, we want to give them something to do. We want to provide something they would like. And again, we're bringing in more of the local flair into that. So we're going to do that by what our buildings are going to look like in the future, and also in these concession offerings. So it's very, very important.
Yeah, that's so good that people coming in here and they're going home from, you know, they spent a week or 2 weeks on the beaches, or they've been over to Disney and they've come over here to go to Busch Gardens or whatever. Now they're going to fly back home. They want to go through this airport. But to let them have a little Columbia restaurant or Cigar City Brewery or any of the other local places that they're going to be enjoying.
So all of this,
yes, right here, yes, this is going to be the Tampa Marketplace, where there'll be 4 new kiosks coming in here. Okay, one is Tech in a Sec, where folks can get those electronic needs taken care of that they need. Kiehl's, which is a product that's a personal care offering.
The high-end shaving lotions, razors, and whatnot.
And has international awareness and appeal as well. And Sunglass Icon will be the other component here, because folks coming on vacation want sunglasses, and sunglasses is the #1 specialty retail item sold at the airport. Right. So we expect this offering to be open probably within a couple of weeks. So it's a 4-in-1 there.
So what's the schedule of improvements? So that will be open in a couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks. All of the improvements that we talk about here today will be open within the next 2 months. So it's coming very quickly, and certainly well in time for RNC.
Yeah, again, we've been talking about how that RNC has accelerated everything, and that's such a great thing. but that everybody gets to enjoy it. I mean, even people coming in here on vacation this spring and everything are seeing so many changes. Well, I remember I did the grand opening for this thing, emceed it down at that end, and then I remember coming in here with Monty Kiffin and spending the rest of the evening.
Now, will this remain?
This is going to be converted over to Schuler Burger. So this is one that we will definitely bring in that local flair and give the customers a great product of what we all know, enjoy, and love in this community.
So that's an offshoot of the Schuler's restaurant?
It absolutely is. Yes, and it'll have many wonderful offerings for folks.
This is a huge airside, isn't it? Is this the largest of the
It is.
current airsides?
Yeah, it's the most accommodating in terms of the security screening area and one of the most generous in the amount of space that we have walking around. And we need it because this is for Southwest and AirTran operating out of this airside. This is the busiest airside that we have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've flown Southwest a lot here.
Does the Aviation Authority share in some of the proceeds of the vendors? Is that how the deal is?
We absolutely do. On a percentage basis, we share in all of that. And so we're delighted that they're making these improvements. HMS Host has been at the airport since the beginning. They're the master concessionaire, so they operate the concessions virtually for the whole airport with some 70 offerings between food and beverage and retail. And they're investing some $5 million in these improvements that we'll see over the next couple of months.
And the good thing is, the airport is kind of like, and you can clarify this if I'm wrong, but kind of like a quasi-government entity that pretty much pays for itself. One of the very few government entities or quasi-government entities that actually pays for itself because of the income.
It does. It's largely funded by the airlines themselves. I mean, the governing board, of which I'm a member, is made up of the mayor, a county commissioner, and 3 gubernatorial appointees. It's set up by the state.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no tax dollars per se in here. It's largely self-sufficient. And most of your expansion is driven by fees from the airlines and the ability to bond based on future projections.
Absolutely.
It's a very, very well-run airport. It really is.
We have a great financial structure that allows us to make the improvements and get those things done for the customers. As we walk around here, you can see over in this corner where we temporarily have a Stellar Artois, and right along where that marble wall is, that's where Cigar City Brewing is going to be in this corner.
Now tell us a little bit about Cigar City Brewing. Jack and I know a little bit about it, but it's a homegrown craft beer.
It's a homegrown craft beer, and they're going to actually brew a beer, a Tampa Airport beer, right here. And there's going to be a window and a viewing opportunity so customers can look at our very own beer being brewed there.
Does it taste like jet fuel?
It certainly won't. It'll taste like a very good ale, like their other products. And
will this be the
wonderful.
only airport in the country that'll have a brewery within it?
As I know it right now, it is.
I have never seen a brewery in any other airport. That's kind of neat.
Cigar City is attracting worldwide attention. I mean, they really are producing a great product, and they're winning a lot of the craft beer awards. I mean, it's a Tampa guy, Joey Redner, who's putting out a great product, and he really, it's exciting for Tampa. Asheville has always been sort of the craft beer capital, but we're developing a whole marketplace there of craft beer manufacturers and brewers that are really just taking us to the next level.
We sure are, and it's going to be wonderful. I mean, Tampa is virtually synonymous with cigars, so we'll have Cigar City Brewing name, and again, our wonderful own brew here that will be named soon.
Yeah, well, Joe was even talking about it earlier in the show, the possibility, or maybe it was before we went on the air, I'm not sure, but talking about the possibility of taking advantage of the fact that we are the cigar capital of the nation, and maybe have Arturo Fuente maybe set up some kind of an operation out here. But maybe have a place where they could buy them, where they're being rolled and that kind of thing.
That's where you're going to get the business, people buying cigars to take home. We'll see in a little bit. We're going to go meet with some of Tampa's bravest that man this airport and provide life-saving support to customers, and God forbid the event of an aircraft incident, they will be there and put their lives on the line. So Al, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Keep up the good work, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for staying with us. We are at the most exciting part of this Mayor's Hour. We get to hang out with some very, very dear friends of mine, Jack, some men and women who I think the world of here at Fire Station number 2, which is a Tampa fire station, but it is manned by folks who have specialized training. And that is training that's used to deal with situations out here at the airport where in the event of an aircraft having issues, aircraft coming down, these guys are ready to go. They've got specialized fire equipment, which you'll see a little bit more of later on, specialized training, specialized gear. specialized suppressants. I mean, it is a top-notch, world-class facility here at Fire Station number 2. And I'm with one of my dear friends. He is the chief out here, Chief Mike Gonzalez, who has spent his career with Tampa Fire Rescue. He has done just about anything that you can do at Tampa Fire Rescue. Chief Gonzalez has done, and he has done well. So, Chief, thanks for having Jack and I.
Yes, indeed.
My pleasure.
You know, Jack and I are all wannabe firefighters anyway. So
everybody does from the time you're born. Kids who want to be firefighters.
Yes. So tell us what we have out here, Mike. Give us a little thumbnail sketch of what this is all about, what the equipment is, what you do, what your training is.
Well, the training at the ARF Division, it starts with a 40-hour course. It's put on by our training captain. And that curriculum covers aircraft familiarization, airport familiarization, aircraft rescue firefighting strategies and tactics, runway crossing protocols, and tower communications.
So it's a very different type of training than what a normal firefighter would get. It would be in addition to that, plus all this extra stuff.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And it is highly specialized. As you point out, I mean, you guys can't just haul out of here and, as you are on the highway, start the siren and everybody gets out of the way. You got planes you got to deal with when you're going across here. So it becomes a major safety issue when you guys try to go anywhere.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of protocols that we have to follow in order to cross these active runways and get to the emergency.
And when you talk about the specialized training, other guys get to use their training on an almost daily basis. I mean, I'll be down around near my neighborhood where the nearest fire station is, and you see them coming out of there pretty often.
Yes.
You know, once, twice a day. You guys don't get to do that much, fortunately.
Yeah, fortunately. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very rarely when you get out. How often do you all have to go out in what is perceived to be perhaps an emergency situation?
Well, fortunately, the last decade has been one of the safest in air travel in recent history. So there's not a lot of real-life situations that we respond to on the crash trucks. However, with the rescue vehicle, they go pretty periodically, somewhere between 120 and 150 calls for service.
So Mike, this station, in the event of a rescue call, say a heart attack by a patient or by a passenger on an airplane, chest pains, your rescue car would run over to the main airport and treat those folks, right?
Yes, absolutely. We've got our ARF-6, which is our rescue vehicle. It's staffed with 2 paramedics 24/7. And as a point of interest, Tampa International Airport was one of the first airports that had full-time staffing with paramedics on duty.
Really?
Yes. In fact, this notoriety resulted in several occasions where aircrafts that were in our airspace were suffering from an in-flight medical emergency, and they would divert and land at Tampa International so that our paramedics can provide care to these patients.
They're coming to you.
Coming to us.
That's amazing. How often do you get called out? Because, again, fortunately, because of the air safety of the past few years and the fact there have been few actual accidents, but how often do you get called out in what might be an emergency situation where you have to be ready with foam or things like that? Does that happen often here? I mean, we see it in the movies from time to time where you're landing and they're pulling out, and that would scare the heck out of me if you saw the firefighters coming out.
Yeah, it really doesn't happen too often, fortunately. However, we're prepared for any type of emergency that might occur on the property. In fact, one of the most significant incidents occurred back in the 1980s, in which a small aircraft landed on a taxiway instead of a runway, and it became lodged underneath the belly of a commercial aircraft and caught fire. We've also had some instances where a cargo plane suffered a very hard landing and blew out the tires, and then the landing gear skidded across the runway and the sparks caught the landing gear on fire. Most recently, we had a small electrical fire at Airside C underneath one of the jetways, and we were able to quickly put that fire out with some of the specialized extinguishing agent that we have on our vehicles.
So when an aircraft calls in a distress call, let's just say, engine light on,
Yes.
or the landing gear's not coming down. So what is the protocol? You guys stage, I see it happen sometimes where you're lined up along the runway, ready to roll on both sides. You got all your vehicles out there. Tell us how that works.
Whenever we get a call for service, and the tower will identify which runway the plane is coming in on, give us an ETA of when that aircraft is expected to be on the ground. So we communicate constantly with the tower. We have a notification of when our aircraft is the next approach, and then we stand by. Once the aircraft lands, then we follow that aircraft all the way to the gate in order to make sure that there is no problem that needs our attention.
Wow. You guys are like a fraternity out here. How many people do you have all together? Because you're separated from everything really out here.
Yes.
I mean, kind of alone, but how many people do you have altogether?
Well, we've got 36 permanently assigned firefighters that staff the various pieces of equipment that we have. We have one training captain, a clerical support staff member, a chief officer, and then we have 50 alternates that come in and provide backfill when one of the permanent firefighters is off duty for various reasons.
And nary a cook on the staff. They have to.
Oh, there's a few cooks, Jack.
Well, I know
There's a
that's
few
the
cooks.
amazing thing.
Yeah.
I've eaten out here before, and I know you're getting ready to, but it was fantastic. I mean, somebody should. Well, somebody did do a firefighter sub or something like that, whatever it is. But you guys ought to have, I don't know, airport firefighters restaurant or something. Just incredible food.
Well, Chief, I mean, these trucks are not red.
Yes, they're not.
And you've got some specialized equipment up here. Tell us a little bit about the training that you go through, the types of, I mean, you're not just pouring water on an aircraft.
Correct.
I mean, there's foam, there's all kinds of other things. Even the equipment that you wear, the bunker gear that you wear because of the heat is different. So tell us a little bit about what the guys going into an aircraft fire would experience.
Well, Tampa International is a Class 1 certified airport, and we have an Index E level of protection. Index E is the highest level recognized by the Federal Aviation Authority, and we provide that service delivery and protection with 4 frontline ARF vehicles. And these ARF vehicles, they carry 10,500 gallons of water, 1,470 gallons of foam, 500 pounds of dry chemical purple K, and 460 pounds of halotron, which is a clean agent used on electrical fires. In fact, we actually supersede the requirement from the FAA, and that they just mandate that you have 3 different extinguishing agents on hand, and we actually have 4. These frontline vehicles are backed up with 2 reserve crest trucks. We also have a frontline rescue vehicle that's backed up with a reserve rescue vehicle. That rescue vehicle has a skid mount fire pump on it, and we use that in order to extinguish car fires that might occur in the parking garage. We also have a 24-foot triage trailer that's filled with medical supplies and equipment that can be used for mass casualty incidents. So the vehicles are very specialized. They're not like your traditional fire truck, as Mary pointed out, they're not red, but in addition to just not having the same color, there's a lot of other advancements in technology and equipment that goes on these trucks. In fact, we actually like to refer to them as super trucks. And there is a difference between a fire truck and a super truck. A fire truck, when it responds to an incident, the truck parks and the personnel get out and they hook fire hoses to the truck and they run around and extinguish the fire. With the super truck, the firefighters stay in their seats and they drive around and extinguish the fire. So there's a lot of specialized
because
equipment.
of the size of the thing,
Yes,
and
sir.
the length and
the heat.
all of that.
And the heat. So in addition to the difference in bunker gear, as the mayor pointed out, it's a proximity suit. It provides a higher level of thermal protection to the firefighters. We expect to be exposed to higher levels of heat when we're dealing with fuel fires. But with this specialized equipment, in particular on ARF-1, which is right behind us, and ARF-3, there's a piercing nozzle. You notice that the piercing nozzle is a cone-shaped nozzle that's designed in order to pierce the aircraft from the outside. And the piercing nozzle is located at the tip of the boom, which is mounted on the top of the truck, so that we can elevate that piercing nozzle and extend it out. Also located on the tip of that boom is an infrared camera. What that camera allows is for the firefighters, as they're approaching the aircraft, they can scan the fuselage in order to identify where the hot spots are. Once they identify those hot spots, and in conjunction with
And
the
they go with the
passengers
piercing thing.
being evacuated, they can pierce the aircraft, extinguish the fire from the outside very safely for the firefighters and for the occupants that are in the aircraft.
I've got a few folks I'd like to use that piercing thing on.
You got to hope you never have to go out and do all that stuff, but you got to know how to do every bit of it. That's
Yes,
amazing.
sir.
Well, Chief, we're going to get a chance to ride in the ARF vehicle, which, we're going to be like little kids. We'll try not to
Oh boy, I'll say.
put our. Did you get us little fire hats to put on?
And we got you the real McCoy.
Okay.
Mayor. Yes, sir.
But, Chief, thank you for what you do, and to the men and women that serve here, we can't tell you how much we appreciate their service. I mean, not many of us, Jack, get up every day and put Kevlar on to go to work, and we certainly don't get up every day and potentially fight, aircraft fires. So we appreciate the guys and the gals that work here. We'll be right back. Jack and I are going to take a ride. Hopefully Chief Gonzalez is not driving, but we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks.
That's what I'm just thinking. This is a huge truck.
Now this here is a T3000 Oshkosh, And it's got 3,000 gallons of water. The regular fire trucks in the street, the red ones, have got 500 gallons of water.
Jeez.
So this has got 6 times the water. It's got about 420 gallons of foam and 500 pounds of dry chemical.
Wow.
Jeez.
And how close can you get to a aircraft? About
That's a
this
good
far away?
question. Yeah, this is about as close as you want to get if it's on fire. You want to start about 200, 220 feet away and move towards the fire, sweeping back and forth at the base of the fire. It's a good question, Mayor.
And is that the heat that oppressive at this distance?
It can be, but we've also got a water shield that comes down and it'll kind of cool the truck. Remember the Ebor fires? They had the burnt up trucks because we didn't have those water shields coming down on the truck. So
Give it another pop. Let's see.
extendable turret, and we can use that for a number of different things. We can actually pierce through the outside of an aircraft to put out a fire, or we can actually shoot water, which we're going to do from a really high place. Now, I don't want to get that guy wet over there.
He's going to get it. That's okay. He's in the wrong place at the right time.
So we got the fog stream, straight stream, that's straight stream there, and we got a fog stream there. It's a fog stream there. Woo, he's going to get a little wet.
Yeah, it's on the way over there. They got that mist coming his way.
He'll be fine.
Hope those people in that airplane didn't think there was an emergency out here.
No, sir, no. That right there is a Beechcraft 1900 right there.
Look at him cleaning his John, you got him.
Now this is actually our newest truck, and it's actually a pretty fast truck. I mean, it's really heavy, for about almost 750,000 pounds. So it's pretty heavy truck.
Now, we don't have a lot of planes out here right now, but when you come out in a situation like this, not only you have to worry about running the truck and all of this kind of thing, but you've also got to get clearance and everything else to maneuver around on the apron here, don't you?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Now this is what we call the non-movement area. So if we go out in the movement area right here, we're going to have to get clearance from the tower. And we can do a quick radio check with them.
No, what you're doing. Can you see the mirror okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow. You look like you've done this a couple of times, Sean.
A little bit easier than a boat trailer, Jack.
Oh, yeah. So that's the gist of it right there.
Jack and I will be back to close out the show. Stay with us.
We're a specialized division within Tampa Fire Rescue, and our sole purpose here is to fight aircraft fires. This is a wonderful facility. Prior to this facility, we had 2 fire stations, one on the west side and one on the east side of the airport. And when they put this in, they combined the personnel and vehicles from both those stations into this one station. This is a 28,000 square foot facility. It has our classroom, our training room. We have a wonderful gym. We have a jacuzzi, and we also have individual bedrooms. That's what I would say would set this station apart from other ones, is every firefighter here has their own individual bedroom. We have 3 shifts, A, B, and C shift, which there's 12 on each shift, so that's a total of 36 firefighters. Where we're standing right now is are the lockers for all the firefighters that are assigned here. So they maintain structural gear for whenever we work out in the city of Tampa. And what gear we use here are silvers, and they have an extra aluminum coating on the outside which reflects the heat from the fuel fires that we would be going in. We have a 10-bay apparatus floor, so we can house 10 units here. We have 4 frontline ARF trucks, and then we have 2 reserve trucks. Then we have ARF-6, of course, our medical response unit. And then in one of the bays, we have our triage trailer, mass casualty trailer, with a pull vehicle. So we have the 4 ARF trucks manned with 2 people. Those trucks are made for aircraft fuel fires. There are no hydrants out on the airfield, out on the runways, so we carry our water with us. So we have 3 vehicles that have 3,000 gallons. We have 1 vehicle that has 1,500 gallons, and all those vehicles have foam. Foam is what we use in a 3% solution to mix with the water, and that's how we put out the fuel fires. We also have third agents on some of the vehicles, one of those being Halotron 1, that's on our 4, and that's a clean agent. That agent is for if you have electronics, a computer, an electronic motor or something like that, it's a clean agent. So when we get done putting out the fire, there's absolutely no residue and no harm to the unit that was burning, with the exception of what the fire caused. But our agent's not going to cause any damage to it. We also have dry chemical on one of the vehicles. The dry chemical is we use for running fuel fires, flowing fuel fires, like for example off of an aircraft engine. And that puts out those 3-dimensional fires, the dry chemical. On 2 of our vehicles we have elevated booms, and we also have a piercing nozzle on it. We have FLIR cameras. We can actually scan the aircraft, look for the heat signature. The driver can take that boom and that piercing nozzle, and it extends out 32 feet in front of the vehicle. He can pierce the plane, and then he hits a button on the inside of the cab and shoots the water and foam solution and puts the fire out.
ARF-6 is the medical truck for the airport. We respond to virtually every call out here, both fire-related and especially medically related. We respond to any kind of medical emergency anywhere on the property, including just the outreaching areas, the jet center and the periphery, and also to anything at any of the air sides or at the terminal, and the roadways leading to and from on airport property. This is just basically an F-350 with an extended cab. It's slung really low on purpose. This can fit anywhere on airport property. This can fit under the where the luggage tugs are. They go actually underneath the airport, and it's designed to go through any place that a wheeled vehicle can go through. You got an emergency down there, a fire, we can respond. This is where we keep most of our medical equipment. This is just our advanced life support drugs that we use. That's a trauma kit back there. The blue one is specifically for pediatric emergencies. This is our cardiac monitor with all the main. This is the guy that gets the most work out of us. Blood pressure cuffs, stuff to check your blood pressure, blood sugar, and all that. This is just overstock equipment, stuff you can resupply with. We keep this for our secured medicines that we need to keep under lock and key, and some more trauma equipment. Something that's kind of different about this truck that you'd find that makes it sort of unique to the airport is we also carry a complement of hose, a fire hose, as long as in our firefighting equipment and our air packs. We would be required to respond to, part of our job would be to respond to vehicle fires in the parking garages, which has happened. We would don our gear, hook up to the standpipe system, and fight the vehicle fire. They would send in additional units, but we would be the first ones to get there to start working on that. We do carry a small complement of extrication tools. Of course, those guys have got the big stuff, but we can get it started. We can get things started. This is just another thing. This is more of our personal gear and our airway bag with our oxygen and stuff like that. With the equipment we have and with our other guys, we're pretty much ready to handle anything we got to handle. For the crew of ARF-6, you don't know what you're going to get when you walk in the door, but just a mixture of minor medical calls to cardiac arrest, strokes. It can run the gamut. I gotta go.
Jack, this was a cool show.
Oh, this has been fun. You can't beat this one.
And the best part is, after the show, I get to eat lunch with the firefighters, which, for those of you who have never tasted firefighter cooking, these are some of the best chefs out there.
They are, and we just saw what they were fixing coming in here, and this is the usual fare. They aren't doing it up big because the mayor's here. This is the way they eat all the time. And I have had the pleasure, although I'm not going to be able to do it today because of another commitment, but I've had the pleasure of eating out here once before, many years ago, and it is spectacular.
It is
You're
indeed.
in for some good stuff.
And then today they didn't let the rookies cook. They're making the real chefs in the firehouse cook. But I mean, just to see the men and women that serve out here, and to see the equipment, and see the training, and see all that they go through to make sure that our traveling customers are safe, really is inspiring.
Yeah, and it really has been a pioneering department, as we've learned from that standpoint. You've got a lot of great things going on in town now in Tampa. I got to bring up the Boulevard of the Arts. That's something that was talked about and everything, and now it's going to happen before the RNC.
Yeah, it really is, Jack. It's Zach Street. We're calling it the Boulevard of the Arts because what it will do is connect the old federal courthouse, which, as you know, we're trying to get renovated as a boutique hotel. And all the way down to Curtis Dixon Park. That Mayor Iorio that really set a great tone for the city when she got that finished and created a great destination point. We're going to do public art. We're going to do wider sidewalks. We're going to do landscaping. We're going to do benches. We're going to create an environment where pedestrians want to be. Because when pedestrians are there, and when you have a pedestrian-friendly city, then you get retail and you get additional investment. Yeah. Because that streetscape is so important in the urban environment. So that's under construction right now. We've got a lot of things going on downtown.
The Riverwalk around one of the buildings, the Capitol, whatever it is, building.
Cap Trust building.
Yeah, Cap Trust.
Yeah, that's under construction too. We have one more piece left on the Riverwalk to finish. It's expensive. It's about $10 million. We're working hard with our friends in Washington, Kathy Castor and the Department of Transportation to get that done. That will connect the Strass Center and finally complete the Riverwalk all the way around to Channelside. And so once we do that, that will open up the river for additional investment. You know, and for me, Jack, people say, why would you want to invest in a Riverwalk? Well, if you invest a small amount in a Riverwalk, you're going to get additional investment that will occur all around the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
So the bars and the restaurants and the commercial development will take place. That's why you do things like Riverwalks.
It makes for a friendlier downtown, and we've got this perfect river that has so much great scenery around it. You know, people always think of the quintessential Riverwalk as the one in San Antonio, which is fine. It's a great Riverwalk, the restaurants and everything along there, but not a lot of scenery on that Riverwalk. This one will have it. I mean, in one area you'll be looking at the minarets, and another area you'll be down by the Strass, another area you'll be up at the History Center and looking across to Harbor Island and everything. I mean, it's really going to be a great thing.
Well, not only are we going to light up the bridges, but we're going to turn the river green on St. Patrick's Day.
Uh-oh.
March 17th, it's a Saturday. This is what happens when you elect an Irish mayor. We're going to have a big party on St. Patrick's Day at Curtis Dixon. We're going to dye the river Kelly green. We got Irish bands. We got Irish music. We got the food trucks coming. We got the craft beer guys coming. It is going to be a great time. And so I want everyone to come down on March the 17th to Curtis Dixon Park for St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be a great time. I'll be wearing my green pants, Jack.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to bust out my green pants.
The green tie and all that green stuff.
I'm going to look like a leprechaun.
I've been in Chicago when they do the Chicago River Green. It's a spectacular thing to see, and it'll make you do a double take out there, but that's a great idea. Plus the lights for the bridges. That's something else you got going down. I know that is going to become a permanent thing, which is going to be gorgeous at night on that river.
I mean, just think of the picture down the road. The bridges lit up, the minarets lit up, the Tampa Art Museum lit up, and the river Kelly green.
Oh,
I mean, how much better does it get than that, Jack? At least one day of the year.
But you know, we're also working now in Ybor City trying to light up Ybor City during the holiday season like they do in St. Augustine. And that could be a phenomenal thing. I mean, it has a great economic impact over in St. Augustine, and it's a big tradition over there. That city is packed every night, night after night after night. And we're looking to try to do something similar to that in Ybor City, which I think will be spectacular.
Well, we're going to light this town up. We're going to see you next month, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Curtis Sixon,
Hi!
Jack O'Harris, and Bob O'Buckhorn will be there. We'll see you then. Take care.
You better believe it.